Hi, my Superstar students. It's Dr. Conklin here today just to do a few examples with you looking at how to write the equation of a line if we have a slope and a point. So first of all, I'm going to tell you guys right now, sometimes these take a little bit of room. So if you would find it helpful, you can go ahead and sort of just cross these off just so that you have a little more space to go down. We're on page 18 and we're looking at number 13. Okay, so let's look at this together. We have the point, or direction say, write the equation of a line. We know what that is, right? Y equals mx plus b, given the slope and a point on the graph. So we need to plug in for two things when we have y equals mx plus b. We need to plug in for m and for b. If we look at number 13, that's the first one we're going to focus on. We know what the slope is. What we're missing is b. We don't have the b value, right? So how could we figure that out? Well, first thing we're going to do is make this little table here. And it's sort of like an opposite. Y, m, x, b. So y equals mx plus b. We're going to make a little table here and fill in what we know so that we have a list of what we know and what we don't know. Our y value and our x value are up here in the point. So I'm going to plug in 4 for y, 3 for my slope, and negative 2 for my x. Then we're going to leave this b here. That's what we don't know. So you could either put a circle or an x. Now we're going to substitute in y equals mx plus b. And we're going to use this table. Instead of putting in y, I'm going to put in 4. Instead of putting in m, I'm going to put in 3. And again, I'm going to use parentheses to help me keep organized here. Instead of putting in x, I'm going to put in negative 2. And I'm going to do plus b. Now we can go ahead and simplify. So I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 2. And that gives me negative 6 plus b. Now to get b by itself, we have to move over that negative 6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And when I do that, I'm left with b is 10. Now this is where we sometimes see students make mistakes. They did all this amazing work, but remember, what were we supposed to do? We needed to find b and write the equation of the line. So again, feel free to use a little more space underneath. Y equals mx plus b is our equation. Instead of m and instead of b, we're going to substitute in. So y equals, our m we said was 3. And we solved to get our b is 10. And that's our equation. Now I want to show you quick how we could check that work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my graphing calculator and I'm going to punch in y equals because we have a function. So I'm going to look at y1, clear out if you have anything. And I'm going to put in 3x plus 10. Now when I do that, I'm going to hit second table so that I can look at the points. Do I see a point that we were given on here? So if I look down, do you guys see here that we were given this point negative 2, 4? Is that on the graph? Negative 2, 4. It is. Woohoo! So we know we did a good job with our line. Okay, let's scooch over and we're going to, just to give ourselves a little space, we're going to do number 15. So again, feel free to pause the video at any point if you can. We're going to use the same strategy we just did. Y, m, x, b. We're going to make our little table here. And remember, what do we need to find? We don't know what b is, so we're going to sort of work backwards to figure that out. M is going to be negative 4. Here's our x, here's our y. Our y is going to be negative 3, and our x is 1. So now we're going to substitute y equals mx plus b. So instead of y, we're going to put in negative 3. Okay? Instead of m, we're going to put in negative 4. And instead of x, we're going to put in 1. Okay, so now let's simplify. So I'm going to put in negative 4 times 1. That's going to be negative 4 plus b. Now to get b by itself, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So b equals 1. And that's what we were going for. So remember our last step, we just want to make sure we have this. Y equals mx plus b. Instead of putting in m and instead of putting in b, here's our m value up here. So our m value is going to turn into negative 4. And our b value is going to turn into plus 1. Okay, let's do one more together. We'll call it a day, guys. Number 19. So again, this question, I would encourage you to pause your video and try to do this first without watching me so that you know you have this down. So take a second and fill in your y, m, and x. Remember, we're going to leave this empty. So our y we said is negative 2. Our m is 3. And our x is negative 1. So let's substitute in. For y, I'm going to put negative 2. For m, I'm going to put 3. For x, I'm going to put negative 1. Okay, now let's remember our next step. We're going to simplify here.
Mommy, what's that Christmas card?
3 times negative 1 is negative 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. You guys are doing superstar awesome. So b is 1. Oh, I'm all done. All done with this question. No, you're not. No way, Jose's. You have your m and you have your b. Remember our directions. We need to write it in y equals mx plus b form. So instead of putting in m, I'm going to put in 3. And instead of putting in b, I'm going to put in 1. Now let's just check our work here to make sure. I'm going to go to my graphing calculator and hit y equals. And I'm going to type in 3x plus 1. Now I'm going to hit second table. And what point do we want to check? We want to see if this point here, negative 1, negative 2, is here. So let's go to negative 1 in our table. Does negative 2 map to negative 1? It absolutely does. So we know we have the right work. All right, we're going to assign you a few of these to work on, and we'll come back and keep reviewing this topic, but keep up the awesome work, All Stars, and have a super day.